I'm Mo. I'm an author, a speaker, training to be a Jungian coach.
Yeah.
And my life changed 10 years ago. I kind of had my life mapped out. I was going to get married. I was going to buy a house. I was going to start a business. But then 1 year later, everything changed. I was going running with my friend.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he's lapping me where I couldn't understand why I dropped off so bad. I didn't know what was wrong. And towards the end of 2014, I felt this pain. And the doctor asked about my family history. We need to put some cameras inside to do some tests. Finished a colonoscopy, CT scan will confirm whether it's... He just gently, nodding his head, said, yes, it's cancer. And in that moment, everything just went still.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Unfiltered Podcast, where we take the I out of unfiltered and put the emphasis directly on you. This is the one platform where we get to take down our filters and have raw, authentic and vulnerable conversations in regards to the challenges that we're all facing today. Now, if you're a fan of the unfiltered nature of this podcast and you want more of these conversations that I have on the show to be normalized, why don't you help me help you to get more guests on and to have those difficult conversations in regards to the challenges we're all facing. I have to know what it is that you specifically want us to speak about. So if it isn't too much to ask, why don't you hit that subscribe button right now? And at the end of the episode, if it's been a hit for you, if it's hit home, why don't you leave a thumbs up and leave a cheeky review in regards to what specifically resonates with you. Now, with that all being said and done, let's get straight back into the episode. Mo, thanks for coming on the podcast today and getting unfiltered. How are you?
I'm great, Pri. It's great to be here.
Yeah? Don't be too nervous today. Be calm, be cool, be chilled. We're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into this at some point. Mo, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, so I'm Mo. I'm an author, a speaker, training to be a Jungian coach.
Yeah.
And my life changed 10 years ago.
Yeah? Talk us through your story.
So as I grew up, I was shy, introverted, quiet kind of guy. And I really didn't know where my place fit into this world. So I studied psychology and sociology to understand the world and to understand people so that I could fit into this world that we have. And I fell in love with personal development, the whole Tony Robbins stuff as I finished uni.
Yeah.
And it kind of opened up this world where school sociology taught me everything is fixed. You can't really make changes. And then Tony Robbins comes along and says, you can do whatever you want to do. And then the first thing that came into my mind was I need to share this with students, with young people. And then I found myself in student development for the next 10 years, working with uni students to help them become leaders and change agents and run campaigns. And as I turned 30, I kind of had my life mapped out. I was going to get married. I was going to buy a house. I was going to start a business and get those six-pack abs. But then 1 year later, everything changed.
Everything changed.
Everything changed. So I thought I had my 30s mapped out, like I said. But I was going running with my friend, Jonathan. And we'd go running every week.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he's pacing me. He's lapping me where I couldn't understand why I dropped off so bad. And my relationship broke down. It was over. I was struggling to make it into work. I didn't know what was wrong with me. So if that business I wanted, it just wasn't going to happen. I didn't know what was wrong. And then eventually, towards the end of 2014, I felt this pain. I was coming home from work, ready to watch a Spurs game. And
we've just established he's a Spurs fan, by the way, as well.
Yeah, for my sins, right? I was getting off the train and there was this pain that just hit me. And it felt different from the previous pain that I had. So previously I'd be in meetings and I'd get a stomach cramp. I'd have to get up, pace around, go to the toilet. The pain would go away. This pain was in a different location. And I thought it would go away. But as the night went on, it was there. I woke up in the morning, it was still there. I'd take a deep breath, it just intensified. So I went to A&E And the nurse in the hospital asked if I'd taken any painkillers. And I hadn't. And so her words were, we feel pain, we take painkillers, the pain goes away. And I felt like an idiot. Like, why am I...
I was just going to ask you, did you not take any like ibuprofen or anything?
I didn't take anything.
Okay.
And I felt silly because I'm wasting the nurse's time, the NHS time. But because I went in, I checked in, they had to go through the process. And I'd rather been at work than be there. In fact, I was just working the whole morning while in A&E. I was texting, emailing, phone calls. And the doctor asked about my family history. My dad died of bowel cancer when I was a baby. And so he said, we need to put some cameras inside to do some tests. In the meantime, if the pain intensifies, up the paracetamol to codeine you can buy off the shelf. So I went home and was told that an appointment will be sent to get those cameras put inside. The next 6 weeks, the pain just got worse. Paracetamol didn't work. Codeine didn't work. Cocodamol didn't work. They gave me something called tramadol, which I was told to use sparingly. And I only took it to go to sleep because I couldn't sleep.
What was the pain like in terms of how painful was it if you were to quantify on a scale of 1 to 10?
It was 10. Like, it was that bad.
Were you crying or frustrated, angry?
I have a high threshold for pain.
Yeah.
So it had to go to that level for me to go A&E.
Yeah.
I wasn't crying. I was, energy-wise, I didn't have the strength.
Yeah.
I would go to work and I would struggle. I was wondering if I could survive a whole day at work.
Did anyone at work know?
They knew I had pain. At the time, I had an interim CEO who was just there for a short term. She said she thought I was holding stress in my stomach.
Fair. So no one knew to what degree.
Yeah.
So you kept that hidden.
No, everyone knew how bad the pain was.
Yeah.
But no one knew how bad it was going to get.
Okay, fine. No one knew the story of what eventually was going to unfold.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, our worst case scenario was cancer.
Yeah.
And then I go in for the colonoscopy.
Yeah.
And endoscopy. One of them was through the mouth. One of them was through the bottom.
Yeah.
A camera to just see what was going on inside.
This is 6 weeks later, right?
Yeah, December.
Yeah.
December the 6th, 2014. I go in and it was agony. When the cameras go in, it was so painful. The one through the mouth, I'm just gagging.
No anesthetic or anything?
No.
Oh, why?
I don't know.
Mo, man, okay, fine. Look, it's your story. I'm gonna stop interrupting, but damn, okay.
But it's a genuine question. Why? But they probably don't. Like, if you get anesthetic, then you need to stay longer. It's
Fine.
All of that.
Yeah.
Colonoscopy, it was pure agony. They were pumping in gas and air. Gas and air is what they give to women in pregnancy or during labor to ease the pain. So they gave me that, but it was making no difference at all.
Yeah.
And they finished the colonoscopy and the doctor says to me they couldn't finish it because the inflammation was too large.
Oh.
And that I needed an emergency CT scan to determine whether it's cancer or Crohn's disease.
Okay.
And that was the first time I heard the word cancer. I go in for the CT scan and they send me home saying I would find out a week later. And so for the next 5 days, I believe, it was hoping for the best, expecting the worst. You know, one of those songs by Alphaville, Forever Young. It was on loop, hoping for the best, expecting the worst. And I go in, I meet this consultant, and he'd asked, what did they say to you last week when you came in for the cameras? And it was verbatim, word for word, inflammation too large, couldn't finish the colonoscopy, CT scan will confirm whether it's Crohn's or cancer. And he just gently, like nodding his head, said, yes, it's cancer. And in that moment, everything just went still. Like, everything went silent because I'm 31 and I'm hearing I've got cancer. I thought I looked after myself. I was running every weekend. I was going to the gym. I was eating well. I don't smoke. I don't drink. And here I have this cancer.
Talk to me about, like, I know you said everything went still. I feel like when people get told that kind of news, it's one of those things where you hear about it, you feel bad, you feel a bit sad, but until it hits home in regards to someone close to you, or if it's yourself, it's that one disease that you know in your head, this could just spiral bad. My life could be over depending on how severe or how, what stage this is at, kind of thing.
Yeah. Great question. So in the moment, I still remember my sister came with me. She was sitting on my left and the nurse was sitting opposite and the doctor was to my right. And when you go quiet, what needs to be heard gets loud. I came across that quote recently. And as I go back to those moments, in that quiet space, a voice said, you need to be strong. Strong for your sister, strong for the nurse, strong for the doctor. And as I was being strong, I took out a pad of paper and I listened, I took notes, I asked questions, and I kind of thought I can do this, not yet knowing, because they didn't have a lot of the answers. I met with the surgeon and he said they need to still do they have something called an MDT meeting, a multidisciplinary team meeting where there's an oncologist and pathologist. They all meet and will decide what my plan was. So he gave the best information he could at that time. And I left the hospital thinking I can do this. But as I left the hospital, I was in tears.
Understandable.
My sister didn't say a word. And I just said, can we just walk? And it was Warren Street, UCL, Warren Street. We just walked up the high street towards Tottenham Court Road and we didn't say anything. And then we walked back. And then as I came home, my mum was there. We told her and one of my uncles, I phoned him and I phoned another uncle. And then I just didn't want to be at home. I went out and I went to my barber, Chopper, and I told him I've just got cancer. I went to my GP surgery and wanted to let my GP know. And I told him, I just wanted everyone to know. It was like one of those things I thought sharing the pain would kind of ease my own pain. And I bumped into one of my neighbours, Jack, who I'd always see on the streets, and I told him. And then he said if it's okay for him to come and visit me in the subsequent days. And I said yes. And I just remember those tears just coming. And I was sitting at the bus stop. I just didn't know what to do. And then it was like that for the next week, where I then went on Google to discover more about cancer. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what an oncologist was. Now I know it's a specialist treating cancer. And so I met the oncologist, and I also did some research onto cancer. And stage 1 is the most earliest, and stage 4 is the most deadliest. Stage 1, you have more options. The survival rates are higher. Stage 4, the options are limited. Survival rates are lower. And so my one question to the oncologist was, what stage? And he said it's stage 4, that I have a small chance of success. And that optimism I had 1 week earlier was gone. I remember saying to my sister, who also came to the next appointment, what's the point of having any treatment? Because he gave me a consent form to sign, and the chemo was to start within a week.
So within the space of finding out, you've had, 2 weeks now, then you're going to start chemo? Or was it 1 week?
So I found out on the 11th of December. Yeah. That was my cancer versary, they call it. Yeah. And then chemo began on Christmas Eve, 24th.
Bloody hell.
I turned 32 on the 20th. Yeah. So I kind of say it was happy birthday, happy Christmas, happy New Year, with not much to be happy about.
Yeah. It's weird. It's a weird time of the year. And then, so let's go through this. So we've had chemo. At stage 4, do they tell you like success rates or survival rates or anything like that?
All he said was you have a small chance of success.
Fuck.
I took that as literally no chance.
Yeah.
But in my network, during those personal development years, I met some incredible people. And one of those was a guy called Dr. Kim Jobst. And he's an integrative physician. So he trained as a medical doctor. He practiced as a medical doctor, but he ventured out to help patients on their mind, their emotions, their spiritual, physical nutrition. So I went to see him, and he saw that I was broken. And he said, your mind is more powerful than the words of any doctor.
Mm.
And so where I had a small chance of success, another doctor's telling me my mind is more powerful than the words of any doctor.
Yeah. I feel like this comes a lot in a number of things where I remember I was speaking to you over the phone, and I talked to you about this book that I think it's one of the first books I read that got me into my morning routine. It's called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And he talked about his story where, fine, okay, cool, out of nowhere he was diagnosed with this like rare and aggressive form of cancer, acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
Okay.
Survival rate of 30%. And obviously he goes through the chemo, he's got kids, family. I think within the story, going for different parts of America to see different surgeries, etc., do all of the stuff. But he got himself into this morning routine. That's what it's called, the Miracle Morning, where it's exercise, visualize, affirm yourself, read, journal, and it's that process of mentally getting yourself in the right state of mind to be able to tackle anything that comes throughout the day. So with what this guy's told you in regards to it's mind over matter, essentially, I'm a big believer in that. So you've seen him, you've gone through this process. You carry on with your story.
So leaving Dr. Kim,
Yeah.
it was a focus on, okay, my mind is more powerful. And then I started creating daily rituals because my life just changed. I couldn't go to work anymore. You know, that morning routine I used to have, wake up, go to the toilet, shower, breakfast, commute an hour to work, and then come back. All of that kind of changed. And so now I needed to create a new routine. And that included mindfulness, it included green juices, it included learning as much about physiology and health. I brought out my GCSE like books on health and healing, and I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could to help the healing process. But then chemo was tough. It was horrible. When I think of it and I look back at some of the pictures and the videos and someone tells me they're going through chemo, it just brings up so much emotion.
What does it feel like?
It feels horrible. It's pretty much poison that goes in your system, and it's designed to kill cells, good cells and bad cells. It's designed to kill bad cells, but it kills the good cells at the same time.
Fine. Your cells are going to regenerate, but the idea of it is it's like to flush everything out, I presume.
It's to get rid of the cancer cells.
Yeah.
And because my cancer was the size of an iPhone 5.
Yeah.
So imagine that, like something that big here. And so it was aggressive.
How many chemo sessions did you have to have, or for how?
First set included 6 cycles.
Fine.
Over a 12-week period. So
every 2 weeks.
Yeah. But the chemo lasted 48 hours.
Fine.
It was, you go to the hospital, they give you a drip.
Yeah.
And then they gave me a bottle, like carrying a bottle that's plugged into me, which takes 48 hours to infuse. And it just brings up sickness, diarrhea, fatigue. I was knocked out. It would take me a week to recover. And then in that week, I would meet up with friends. My friend Jack would come and see me.
And then repeat the cycle again?
And then...
For 6 weeks?
6 weeks. And then I finished a set of 6.
Yeah.
I go in, it's March, for a CT scan. Because the CT scan will show progress to see if the chemo's worked or is working or hasn't worked. And I go in for the CT. I come home about to crash on the sofa. I get a phone call from an unknown number, and it was a doctor who said, you need to come straight into A&E. They detected a blood clot in my lungs.
Shit.
It's like one of those, what has a guy got to do to catch a break?
Yeah.
And then I go in and they keep me in hospital for another week because my bloods that the tests showed, the levels were really bad. I was at risk of catching an infection. And
understandably, yeah.
And so they kept me in an isolated room. But the CT scan also showed that the tumour had shrunk a little bit.
Fine.
Or enough for them to put me forward for surgery.
Fine.
And so we fast forward a month later, April, I go in for surgery. And again, consent forms. They're going to take out my colon. They might need to take out my spleen, the abdominal wall, the stomach, wherever they feel necessary. And I'm like, what's going to be left of me?
Yeah.
But I prepared. I was scared before surgery. And one of the fears I had was waking up mid-surgery. And it might sound stupid, but that was a genuine fear. And then the anaesthetist was like, you'd have nothing to worry about. We're all going to be there. We're going to monitor your levels so we can see if someone's about to wake up. If they are, we'll put some more in. Yeah. So that kind of like helped not going into surgery with an unnecessary fear. One of the things that came from this whole thing is like just being open about what those fears are, what the anxiety is. Just previously I may have shied away and kept that bottled. Yeah. But I had surgery and the doctor was like, we think we've got it all. The classic words. Yeah. We've taken it all out. But I needed more chemo just in case. Yeah. So another 6 over a 12-week period. That took me to August. And I thought I was going to be well again. Started to go back to work, phased return. But then I had another CT scan. And that's when things took a turn for the worst. There was more cancer. Fine. Carried on growing. So they had to put me on what they call second-line chemo. Yeah. So I had first-line chemo, which was their best medication. I carried on growing through that. So they put me on second-line chemo. Another 6. So from December 2014 to December 2015, I had 18 cycles of chemo, had a major operation. I had a blood clot in the lungs. And for the blood clot, I had blood thinning injections. I had to give myself every single day. Yeah. And then I go in December 2015 and I hear the words, the chemo's not working, the cancer's growing, there's nothing else we can do for you. Fine. It was terminal. Yeah.
And that's, I suppose, when the whole crowdfunding started.
Yeah, that was the beginning of the next phase. Now, I went into that consultation as the calmest person you could imagine. The doctors just told me it's bad news. And I'm like, okay. And he thought I didn't hear him, I think, because he said it's bad news. And he said it's bad news 3 times. And I was like, tell me. And then when he told me there's nothing else we can do for you, I asked him, so what can we do? And I asked him about this drug that came up in conversation previously a few months ago called immunotherapy. And he explained how I've got this genetic condition called Lynch syndrome. So my dad died of it. And so my cancer was hereditary. But research showed immunotherapy works well with Lynch cancers. But the only problem was it's not on the NHS.
Fine.
So I asked, how can we get this? Can I pay for it privately? He said, to pay for it privately, you need to be a millionaire. Because it was so expensive. It was still in research. But what he said was he was going to apply to the NHS. He was going to forward me to a research institute to see if I would qualify for a trial. So I started 2016 with hope. Terminal wasn't quite terminal just yet. And then we're in a space of waiting. January, February, March. We're coming on to April. The NHS had said no. The clinical trials were so challenging to get onto. They want special criteria, which I didn't meet. We applied to the drug companies for special fund dispensation. They said no. We went to the Department of Health. My MP, who's going to be the next Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, he represented me to the Department of Health. They said no. So it was rejection after rejection after rejection. And then one of my friends said, let's fundraise. And by this time, I was okay asking for help. Take me to the hospital, help me with my shopping, help me with changing my sheets. Asking for help became okay. But asking for money, that was another level I wasn't ready for. And so I'd go to sleep each night, head hitting the pillow. One, not knowing if I'd fall asleep. And two, if I did fall asleep, whether I'd wake up. And I'd be crying like, am I worthy? Am I deserving? What's the price on life? And each morning I'd wake up thankful for having another day. You know, it would be taking one day at a time. And then as I carried on doing the work, I was like, no, I am worthy. I am deserving. And I didn't want my family questioning what would have happened if he had the drug.
Yeah.
Because inevitably I was going to die.
Yeah.
The cancer was growing. It was showing signs of spreading into the liver, into the spleen. It was good. That was the trajectory. And so I said, yes, let's fundraise. Committed to doing whatever was in my capabilities.
Yeah.
Now, there was a spectrum. On one hand, I knew we were going to raise some money because my friends, family were going to chip in. And then on the other spectrum, someone wealthy was going to come in like the knight in shining armor.
Yeah.
Here's the money, here's the drug. Kind of like. The doctors were supportive. We reckon there's a good chance this is going to work. I looked at the research myself. It showed a 70 to 80% success rate. And with chemo, you're looking at less than 10%.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out figures here. It was really low. And so I said, yes, let's fundraise. We launched a crowdfunding campaign for £200,000. And then what happened next was incredible. We raised the money.
How long did it take?
Within a month, we raised 60,000,
Nice.
enough for the treatment to start.
Yeah.
And then we carried on. And then I carried on having treatment. And within the first 4 cycles, the tumours had shrunk
Okay.
between 30% and 70%.
Yeah.
And so I had the treatment for another year, to the point my doctor said, let's pause and see what happens. And then we kept getting scanned every 8 weeks, and then every 3 months, and then every 9 months, and then every year the cancer went away.
And so how long did it take to raise to 200K?
We started the fundraising in April and we raised it by October.
Okay. Mad. So like 6 months. And that's everything you raised was used towards. And that was April of what, 2016?
Yeah, we started the treatment 1st of June.
Okay, fine. Okay, cool. So, and walk me through, I know we spoke about it, you've been in remission now for 6 to 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So
which is unheard of.
Yeah, when did you get the green flag that then you're free of cancer?
Ooh, I think it was 2018.
And how did that feel?
I couldn't believe it. I saw the scan and I was with a friend and I'm like, can you read this? Because it said the words, no evidence of disease.
Yeah.
And I asked him to read it and he was like, yeah, that's what it says. And it was a strange one. It was a strange feeling because on one hand, this is what you dream of.
Yeah.
If you've got cancer, this is what you want. And then there's a fear, is it going to come back?
Yeah.
And then there's this, I don't know what the word is, like guilt. Like, why me? Or
Yeah, that taps in more into like the psychological side of things. Yeah. And is this your book that you've written around your story?
Yeah.
I'll definitely be. He gave this to me quite late, so I definitely will be giving this a read. But no, I appreciate that. No, that's, you know what, bro? I'll be completely honest with you. Hearing your story, no one envisions going through something like this. Like you said, you lost your dad quite early. It was hereditary. No one envisions this is ever going to happen to us, regardless to whatever it is that you go through in life. Whether it's heartbreak, I'm not going to try and scale it, but heartbreak to getting into an accident, or your house catching on fire, or going for a miscarriage, or being told that you're infertile, or getting cheated on, or in your case having cancer. Like, no one predicts any of this stuff gonna be. It happens across the world. And the way you just articulated your story, I can't begin to imagine the doubts that probably creep through your mind, points where you felt like giving up. But being here today as a survivor through it all, I feel like you definitely deserve your flowers in regards to powering through. And I know you do this through your training. I know he does TED Talks, everyone. So we'll plug all of that in so everyone can give it a little look as well. But like, respectfully from me to you, well done at powering through, bro. You're an inspiration to so many. You won't realize it right now. When people hear this, they'll be like, shit, if Mo can do it, there's no reason why I can't. And his success rate was meant to be this, but he's still powered through. Look at him right now, smiling, supporting a shit club. Down, we won't disrespect Spurs, but do you know what I mean? Like, respect to you for holding it down. I had someone close to home get told late into their life that they were going to go through. Well, they found a lump, cancer. When I say close to home, it does make you think like, shit, like at that age, is there going to be much assistance from our National Health Service in regards to the quality of life, etc. and stuff? And look, difficult pill to swallow, but being able to see their journey and powering through and where they felt down and quite low. And I remember things I used to say to them was, look, you've been given this opportunity right now. This was during the COVID time as well. I'm just saying, people aren't getting a chance to live. COVID is taking their life, and look, you've managed to have these many years, and now you've been hit with another storm. Let's call it a storm, right? You're going to get through this. You're going to get through the rain. You're going to get through the bad weather. You're going to find a way of powering through. I know it seems difficult. I know it might be rough. I know the care and the treatment that's subsequently going to come on the back end of it is going to be X, Y, and Z. But respectfully, you've got this opportunity right now to change so many lives just based on how strong and how powerful you are as an individual internally. Seeing them get through it, amazing. Yeah. Amazing. So I definitely want to give you your flowers for being able to do that. One thing I wanted to ask you, because you've gone through this, what mental scars has it left behind personally? I know I'm calling you a warrior right now, but I feel like you are scarred mentally somewhere. Are there fears that something could happen again?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think I look back my 30s, you know, we started the
you mapped it all out.
And at times I feel like my whole 30s have been wasted. Like my cohort of friends, and I love them, like their journeys are very different, and I kind of at times feel like I've missed out on a lot of that. But then I look at my life and I'm like, I get like, it was a dream to write a book. It wasn't the book I thought I was going to write.
Yeah, but now you're an author.
I'm an author. Like, I've been invited to America to give talks. Like, I'm an international speaker. Like I've had the opportunity to share my story, and then people coming back to me, and I appreciate those words you share. Like, it's humbling. And so scars, I think there is trauma, like 100%, because you get the shock of the cancer, you get the shock of the treatment, you get the shock of the rejection, and subsequently it is there, you know, like the body has been battered, it's been bruised. And this past 6-7 months I've been doing so much healing to just give myself love and honor myself for going through everything that I've gone through, and to be on the other side. I've had therapy, I've had coaching, I've done shadow work, I've done so much, and I'm grateful a lot of the times. And I think one of the things that I've just become aware of, it would take extremes for me to connect with my feelings. Like, you're about to die for me to cry. I stopped crying at a certain moment in time. It would take like a relationship breakdown for me to cry. It would take like being crippling debt for me to cry, like real extremes. But now I'm able to just tap into the day-to-day emotions of joy, of pain, of upset, of loneliness, of sadness, of...
You don't restrict yourself right now from...
I have...
That's a mad lesson to take from it. That's it's crazy you say that. You had to go to this extreme to be able to fully be vulnerable. And right now what it's taught you is just be present and be vulnerable in the moment.
Yeah.
You're saying it's not left any mental scars behind. You're not fearful or anything? Or are you still fearful?
I think last year I had 2 horrible experiences. So one of the side effects from the immunotherapy was ulcerative colitis. So I had a piece of rectum left, but they said that needs to come out because there was too much inflammation there.
Yeah.
So I went in May to get that removed, and I was told I'd be maximum in hospital 10 days.
Yeah.
40 days later, I'm still in.
Yeah.
On a drip. I can't eat. They sent me home on a liquid diet. My stoma, which is like a bag that collects poo, that got blocked. So I couldn't eat food. So liquid diet it was. And then 1 month later, I had to go back in because it got blocked again. So they had to cut me open a second time and fix whatever mechanical issue had gone wrong. So I came out in September scared, like what if it drops again? What if it gets blocked again? But then the surgeon reassured me if it was very rare for that to have happened in the first place. And then it hit me. I didn't do everything to survive those 10 years, coming up to 10 years, to live in fear. And that switch went
That's
off
mad.
in October.
Yeah.
And then I had to allow the body to heal for the scar to get back to normal. And then I started going on the treadmill again.
Yeah.
Gently, 1K, 2K.
Baby
3K.
steps now.
And then in March, I'm ready for an outdoor run. And I found a running club. And within a few weeks, I'm pacing for this running club.
Yeah.
Like 10K or 5K. And my goal is to go back to my pre-cancer running times.
Yeah.
And I'm training to be a Jungian coach.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is about going into the unconscious to bring up those wounds, those scars. And so those wounds are still probably there, but as they come up, I confront them. Go to my coach and say, look, this is what's happening. I journal. My morning habits involve dream work, involves something called morning pages, where I'm just a stream of consciousness. I meditate, spend time in nature, doing so much to heal, to bring up those scars and like not avoid the moment.
To truly let go.
Yeah.
To be the best self you can be.
Yeah.
That's nuts, bro.
And to not give a shit anymore. What I realized, I had a real strict Muslim upbringing, family, culture, like, and then you have school and society, like, and like right now I don't care, like,
because you're not religious.
I'm not.
Respect the practice.
I don't practice.
Okay, do you respect the
I'm
beliefs
like,
and stuff, or
like I'm more spiritual.
Okay, fine.
And so it doesn't matter for me whatever religion someone is. It doesn't make a difference to me. It's like the humanity is what saved me.
Yeah.
And
you generally just don't give a fuck now. It's just being the best Mo possible.
Yeah. So like, if someone told me in February I'll be going to ecstatic dance events, I would have thought, what are you talking about? Because that shy, introverted kid, I don't do that.
Yeah, and less of that.
And like, there's one tonight. If I had the energy for it, I'd go.
Why aren't you in?
I had a gym session this morning, and I'm pacing for the running club tomorrow morning. Fair. So I'm learning to listen to my body.
Big. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
I got injured earlier this week, and like literally before, I'd probably like try and power through a workout still.
Yeah.
I spoke to one of the PTs, and then he was like, "Just go home.
Yeah.
Don't make it worse." And naturally, by doing all of this rehab work I've done over the last few years, the injury is pretty much going, and I get to play golf this weekend. But respectfully, in my head, like the hero and the ego lifting would possibly have come out, try and power through it. Less of that. Just listen to your body more. But and this Whoop band, albeit I probably shouldn't advertise it because I'm not sponsored by them, but it does a lot in terms of
Yeah.
helping you understand about recovery and sleep and stress and all of that. So no, fair. Sorry to cut you up.
Yeah, just on that. So doing stuff I'd never done before. I'm tapping in to the feminine parts of me. So I didn't realize how refined the left brain is. So we say the left brain is like the logic, the reason, the science, the rational.
Yeah.
And, you know, you mentioned Whoop. I'll give a plug for Aura. Like, this is for my sleep.
Yeah.
But it also monitors my steps.
Yeah.
So when I first got it, I'm like, how accurate is it? So I'm walking up Camden counting steps in my head to see if it matches. And it did. And that's how logic.
And you got the Apple Watch as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're plugging in everything today.
It's Tech Week.
That's it.
But so from going from this masculine logic to the right brain, which is about creation, which is about intuitiveness, imagination, I've been tapping into that more and more. So art, drawing, mandalas, like, dance.
It seems like you're on this very, I don't want to say spiritual journey, but like an internal journey for you. You're listening to your body a lot more. You're doing things right for you. And again, like, if it's interesting, what you're doing right now is probably something so basic and common in regards to some of the practices you might do in the morning. And you just ask yourself the question, if I did that 10 years ago, what would my life have been like if I followed some of these basic principles, which I've realized through like meditation. It's just 10 minutes, bro, of just sitting there in silence.
Yeah.
Just breathe.
Yeah.
Just breathe.
Yeah.
How does that feel? If you can't close your eyes, because you just look at yourself in the mirror and just watch that candle. Some of these small things, and it's like switching off for 10 minutes. How peaceful is it to sleep when you switch off for 8 hours? Imagine doing that 10 minutes first thing in the morning when you're stressed about what. Game changer. But again, I definitely want to just give you your credit there. I've written it down here. Like, I don't want to call it a condition, but the subsequent events and the subsequent status of you right now, the challenges that you've faced, do you feel that's an obstacle for you right now in regards to life? And what I mean by that, this podcast has a tendency of going down the dating and relationship route. It's always a hot topic in regards to what people are going through and challenges, whether you're in a relationship or not. But I feel one of the bigger topics within all of it in regards to being unfiltered is getting through those insecurities and building up that self-confidence to truly back in yourself and being unfiltered yourself throughout life, right? Taking down that mask. Do you feel right now you are at a disadvantage in regards to, I know we've established you're still single. Do you feel like you're at a disadvantage right now in regards to the Mo that sat here today? Do you feel like something's holding you back?
Yeah. If you'd asked me this question maybe 6 months ago, you would have probably got a different answer.
Fine.
6 months ago, I would have probably been from a place of victimhood.
Yeah.
Like, I've got this condition, I've got this history, I don't know what the future's gonna. I would have been in my head so much. But this, if you do the work, it works.
Yeah.
With reverence and sincerity and with an open heart.
Yeah.
And the journey I'm on right now, it's about self-love.
Yeah.
It's, and I can't unless you do the work, you won't know.
And I hear you. I hear you.
Right now, I don't feel any obstacles.
Yeah.
Like, there were practical things. So my friend is in Bali and he's always been saying, come to Bali, come to Bali.
Go to Bali.
Yeah, go to Bali.
I'm an advocate, go to Bali.
And in my head, it's like, oh, can I survive the flight? I have the stoma. Like,
what is the stoma? Just for anyone who doesn't know.
If you want to see it, I can show it.
If you feel comfortable showing
it's
it.
It's a bag.
Yeah.
That collects poo.
Fine.
But it needs changing. It's a bit like a nappy.
Yeah.
You remove it.
And that's connected to you, right?
Yeah. It's, if I don't have it, the poo will just come out.
Fine.
There needs to be a vessel.
So is that where it comes from right here now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
They took out the colon.
Yeah.
and the plumbing is just here.
Fine.
And so I'm in my logical brain, no, I can't make it happen. The moment I start doing this work, I'm kind of like, if I didn't have these obstacles, would I go? And the answer was yes.
Yeah.
And the moment the answer was yes, and I'm listening to that part of me, I'm like, Roo, I'm coming. And then a friend of mine has this travel agency. He sorted out a flight where I can go to Dubai, stop off, stay there for a couple of days.
Just to break it up a little bit, yeah?
Yeah, and I'm like, it's what would have been an obstacle, no longer an obstacle.
Yeah.
I've applied to run the marathon for next year.
Yeah.
If I don't get a ballot place, I'm sure I can find a charity
Fine, yeah.
that will take me on. So going back to like the topic of dating and relationships, 6 months ago, I would not have been in a place where I would have felt confident.
Yeah.
But right now,
You don't give a shit.
I don't see any obstacles. Like my mission, if you want to go esoteric, is about expanding the consciousness of humanity.
Yeah.
And a level down from that, it's about rebalancing the healthy masculine and the healthy feminine.
Yeah.
I feel the world is too masculine in its negative forms.
Yeah.
Either the wounded masculine or the toxic masculine.
Yeah.
So everything that I've been going through and learning about, it's kind of like, how do we restore that balance?
Yeah.
And then one step down to bring it to this level is getting out of my head and into my body. And that's my mission. And if there's someone who I meet that wants to sign up and be part of that.
Because I feel like if you're walking down the street, like, great hair, great beard, no one would know what you've personally gone through without possibly picking up this book or having a conversation with you to let you be vulnerable. And I feel like within this world that we live in, people are so quick to belittle ourselves in regards to our appearance or the way we speak or our background and stuff like that. And I feel like what I'm trying to get out of you in this part right now is, you don't care about what people are going to say, yet you're not fearful in regards to possibly trying to seek someone who would want to start a relationship with you and be with you. Like, it's not something you're desperately looking for, but like, you're so content within yourself and who you are as Mo. I find that so powerful. And the reason why I find that so powerful is because I hear clients and I hear potential clients and conversations that come through in the DMs and people just reaching out, and how bad people feel in regards to their situation. I've got this, I've always been overweight, or like I'm too skinny, or my hair's too thin, and this, that, and the other. And there's all of these small things that might come up, and I'm just in my head thinking, okay, cool, fine. We've got to switch this mindset to get you backing yourself truly. Yeah. You've gone through a fucked up 10, maybe longer, 15 years of your life, especially the remission part of things, etc. I'm saying it. Yeah. In terms of, let's go even way back. Your childhood was affected because you lost your dad quite early, right? 100%. We haven't even tapped into that. You've gone through this journey, yet you're still here standing strong, able to show people your stoma, able to show people your stoma on camera. No fucks given. This is who I am. This is Mo. I respect that so highly. It's empowering to know that doesn't affect you, because I feel like someone having messed up teeth or someone having hair falling out or something like possibly quite minute in regards to the general person can bring someone down. Yeah, you've got a condition that's going to be stuck with you for the rest of your life right now. And what, like, it's not going to affect you. Don't worry, it's fine. This is how my body works right now. That's it. I love that. Like, I just find it quite admirable how you've able to have got yourself into a position where it just doesn't matter. You generally, hand on your heart, say it doesn't affect you.
Hand on my heart, it does not affect me.
That's respect, bro.
But as I say, if you'd asked me that 6 months ago, you would have got a different answer. I've been doing so much, like,
fill me in with this, like, in the next couple of minutes. Just give me, in these 6 months, what's happened?
I've developed a relationship with my unconscious.
Fine.
So we have the conscious world and we have the unconscious world. Everything that we suppress, we repress, we deny, we don't like about ourselves is in the unconscious.
Yeah.
So I found ways to open up that dialogue.
This was through the Jungian coaching.
Jungian coaching.
So should people be training as those coaches or be working with those type of coaches?
100%. It's changed my life, man. like those abandonment. So going back to those relationships, those insecurities about hair or overweight, if those are what's bringing you down and the relationship that you attract, that's not going to solve those insecurities.
Yeah.
It's like a cliche. You need to love yourself first.
Oh, no, you do. You need to fill your own cup up before you even try with anything else. But it's so easy for us saying it.
Yeah.
I feel like when people say it, it's a case of, no, I do love myself. I affirm myself. Stop chatting shit if you don't really truly believe it. If you can't look at yourself in the mirror and love that person for who they are, it's going to create a problem. You've tapped into this unconscious.
Yeah. So we could do an episode all on this. But yeah, developing a relationship with the unconscious, there are ways to do this.
Yeah.
And stuff comes up. And when stuff comes up, you have to integrate. You have to be aware of it, catch yourself in the moment, catch those triggers, and then learn from it. Like the anxieties that come up.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel the anxiety and then go for a packet of crisps or chocolates or whatever the thing is, cigarettes or drinking. We avoid the moment.
Yeah.
So staying present with that pain.
Yeah.
And the more you stay present with it, that pain will talk to you.
Yeah.
You'll find where it first came from. And so some of my anxiety came from early memories from school. And then the moment I remember that, I'm a 41-year-old guy. Why am I like...
Are you 41?
I'm 41.
Bloody hell, it doesn't look it, does it? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I've got bad genes when it comes to the cancer, but everything else. But it's going back to reparent that kid.
Exactly that.
Kid who was shy and scared and, like abandonment and all that. Just... We're not taught this. We're
never taught this stuff, and it's feel like it's a case of maybe it's. I definitely want to bring more people on the podcast to find out whether or not it's a South Asian thing or maybe it's generally a generic thing. Because I didn't do Jungian coaching. I had NLP and like whatever was tapped into my subconscious fucked me right up. And I've talked about it on the pod where self-worth came up and it broke me down, realizing like where these memories and these like zapping feelings came from in terms of how shit I was internally making myself feel and how over in life I normalized it. And so I used to people please. Yeah. And I people please from a perspective where I'm just not good enough. So I have to just make sure you're number one. And how toxic does that sound when you say it out loud? Like, no. I'm tired, but fuck it. We're doing everything for you. I'm here for you because that's my worth. It's that small and compared to how happy you're going to feel by me doing. That's terrible. But we don't hear ourselves saying that enough. And when I'm able to help my clients start seeing things from a different light in regards to this is what you're doing. Yeah. You've just said to me, you're here in the hierarchy and everyone else needs a lot more. So if you're depressed, angry and upset right now, that means nothing. Yeah. Because as long as they're okay, that's the main thing. That's not healthy. And when I have clients telling me about it, them being from, let's say, parents or siblings, I'm like, it gets even worse when they talk about it from their children being up here and they're here. I'm like, no, you could be on the same level. What lesson are you teaching your children right now if you're going through all of this anger and frustration but saying it doesn't matter because they're number one? What kind of lifestyle are they going to live? We're just repeating a pattern right now where it's a case of everyone else becomes first and we're just second. Yeah. When are we going to switch that up and start putting ourselves first? And I feel like exactly what you said you've done throughout this 6 months. It's who are you working with?
I'm working with my coach. Her name's Melissa Layton.
She's
the founder of a company called Numinity.
Fine. And are you a practicing coach there right now?
I'm learning to be a coach. Yeah. Through a different school.
Okay, fine.
But I am partnering with Numinity to run a few workshops.
Fine.
Carl Jung's works.
Fine.
I'm excited about that.
No, definitely. We'll try and plug as many as that whenever the episode comes out. If it's available, I'll get in contact with you too. Because I feel like I this is another thing I feel like people don't take away from understanding mental health and your subconscious. It's not just a case of you feeling a bit down. It's more of a case of transitioning out of that mindset so that the next 6 months, the next year, the rest of your life, you're going to be in a different headspace. Like right now, the guy you are right now, like you said, 6 months ago, your head would have been completely different. No matter all the battles you've been through,
100%.
you could still just be beating yourself up, thinking you don't deserve this. And right now, you're...
Dude, I was scared to run for the bus. I was sleeping, scared to turn over.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not making that. It was real.
Yeah.
And now, like...
It's like it is what it is. It's going to happen. And respectfully, I'm just going to do the best I can every day just to get there. Yeah. No, I rate it. I rate it. And what I try to tell people when it comes to like coaching, I never try and plug it into the extent where someone should work with me specifically. But if you vibe with what conversation has been brought out on this podcast or general podcast, what you see on social media, and you feel, you know what, I feel this will help in some shape, form or capacity, please just get in touch with the people that are putting it out there, because there is a lot of resources. I've been doing this for like 3-4 years now, right? And when I first started, it was during the COVID time, and I felt coaching wasn't that big in the UK. Now everyone's fucking a coach. Everyone's doing some form of career coaching, fulfillment coaching, this, that and the other.
So I didn't share this, but I did my first life coaching qualification at the age of 23.
Oh, wow.
So we're talking 2006.
Yeah.
I was early.
I was a baby.
I was early. But what I realized was, I'm 23. I need to live.
Exactly.
And so, but what I could do was work with students, because I'd done that.
Yeah.
And so I spent my coaching skills helping students, basically. And then that took me to my 30s. And then the cancer happened. So I've gone full circle. But I've discovered Carl Jung's work, and it's whatever you vibe with, right? There are so many different types of coaching. Same with therapy.
Yeah, and this is like one of the most important takeaways I feel like people should run with. I did the Jay Shetty certification school. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know there are people who don't like Jay Shetty's content. They don't like his work. They feel a certain kind of way. Some people love it. It is going to be what it is, right? Now, am I a Jay Shetty? No.
Yeah.
I'm pretty. The way I talk, the way I speak, I have a certain tone, I have a certain style. If it doesn't work for you, but you realize, shit, the things that he's saying definitely resonate, go find something that's going to work for you. That doesn't mean that you have to get it, because no one needs this kind of stuff. You want it because you want to improve generally. No one needs to have a coach or needs therapy. It's a case of you've identified a problem, what you're doing about it. What I'm doing about it right now is I'm going to get some assistance.
Yeah.
It's a case of a very, very, very basic example would be, let's say, for instance, you cut yourself, right? You don't need a plaster. You might want to get a plaster to cover it up, but respectfully, your body is designed to like heal that wound eventually. It might take longer, but you do what you got to do. When it comes to your internal pain that you're going through, I generally feel if you're hurt, and you feel, fuck, like, I know I can get through breakups. I know I can get through this kind of like trauma. I've lost someone, whatever. Yep. If you feel what you want to do right now in the next 6 months, the next 12 months is not to defeat the person you've become, and you want to continue that growing process. You want that growth journey. You want to be at the next level. You don't want to just stumble and fall and be held back in life. You want to go find someone that's going to help you, whether that's a counselor, a therapist, a coach, a PT, whatever it is. Yeah. But there is this, you see I'm getting a bit passionate around it. There is this like forward and backwards in regards to do I not, is it too expensive, etc. And I feel like people then start putting a price in regards to what's so beneficial to them. Yeah. You're now telling me that you're not worth that six-pack. You're not worth it? Yeah, of course I am. Then why the fuck are you not investing in that coach? Because clearly everything you're doing right now ain't doing anything for you. If you deserve to be happy, why aren't you investing in your happiness? Why aren't you? It baffles me. Your health right now. You didn't want to stay like this 6 months ago. You didn't want to be in that mindset. So you did something about it to be who you are right now. Yeah, let me just show you. like that. You possibly would never have done that. You might have been embarrassed to do something like that, right? Now you just don't care. And I feel like what that showcases is strength and who you're able to be moving forward. That shows your authenticness. Shows you being unfiltered. It's mad. It's just weird that we don't all live in a world like this.
Yeah.
I feel like we are getting closer. Do you?
think we're getting polarized.
Ooh.
It's extremes, right?
Yeah.
I took myself off Facebook for over September is going to be 2 years. I just took myself off it because it was just whatever I was seeing. It was just people angry, upset. I don't know. Like,
I hear what you're saying. There is this possibly transition phase when it comes to like social media in regards to the stuff that's getting thrown out. And like I said to you, you did your coaching course when you were 23. I did mine 3-4 years ago. And I felt at the time I didn't see much attraction within the UK in regards to like mental health and well-being. And I think over the years, I'm seeing much more emphasis towards it.
But I don't know, is it genuine or is it just lip service?
This is the thing that you're never going to know until you give it a go. Like I've had people say to me when I've had a coaching discovery call with them, and they'll be like to me, yeah, I did therapy, it was shit. And I'm like, maybe you just went to a bad therapist. Or maybe you just went to someone who generally wasn't truly invested in you or weren't a right fit for you.
Yeah. I guess there aren't enough stories of us talking about therapy.
Of course.
And so, yeah.
Well, you don't hear about, like, a lot of people like to keep that stuff quite privatized. Like, I don't need to tell you about my life, but actors who are going through it, I know of coaches, because you hear about it and you read through their stories, who have coached presidential elects or campaigners, etc. Like they've gone to the extent where they're working with sports personnel, people.
Yeah.
Like, people are going through stuff. It's just maybe they don't want to publicize that they're going through a challenge. But not that we need to publicize it, but I just feel like people just need to.
But there's a stigma attached, right?
There is a stigma attached.
That has historically been fed maybe through films, through TV. And so if that stigma's there,
we
need to.
So basically you're planting a seed in my head right now. I need to do a film around mental health and well-being and why it's so goddamn powerful. You speaking to someone. I'm trying to think of it. Can you think of a film where they have generally a life coach or a therapist guiding people through stuff?
Did you ever watch... what's that film? Not film, that series. So Suits.
Oh,
Suits.
They're dropping the new season as well in a couple of weeks' time.
I think the season's done. They're just reposting it.
Yeah.
So Harvey.
Yeah.
He used to have a therapist, right?
He did.
And it used to flash back. And the one, is it Mad Men? The advertised guru. Don, what's his name?
What, in Suits?
No, Suits, there was a therapist for Harvey.
Yeah.
Flashback to his, how
his childhood, his trauma.
Affecting his relationships with his bosses and girlfriends and what have you. And then another series called Mad Men.
Okay, never heard of that now.
Okay, so I started picking up where shows are having therapy type conversations, but I don't know if it's hitting home.
It's true, it probably hasn't hit home, but the thought of it is. I was watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon, and they had a little aspect of therapy in there as well, counselling and stuff like that. So, no, it's definitely a space I feel like adds value. And I'm not trying to plug it in because I'm a coach. It's more of a case of the added benefits I've seen through people and the benefits I've obtained from it. And I generally just feel like if you know something's wrong or doesn't feel right, why wouldn't you speak up? It just doesn't make sense where our mind sometimes goes to a place where we need to shut down and keep quiet. Like you'll find people who are affordable, find people who are local, you'll find the service that's right for you.
Yeah, and
you apply yourself.
There are therapists who work on a sliding scale as well.
Yeah, you can find something right for you if you just apply yourself very differently. Yeah, if you want face to face, I guarantee you'll find someone within your city that probably does that kind of service. If it means you have to travel, right, you have to travel. But like there are people there, you just got to just make it work. But Mo, we could speak forever on this. I feel like we definitely went off tangent. I do want to thank you. One, for being unfiltered and telling me your story, and I will get through this and
let me know.
Plug that in as well. You're if I know you back yourself enough, but for me again, just to reiterate, you are a warrior out here, bro. So keep doing what you're doing and don't stop shining, my man.
No, thank you so much.
Where can everyone find you if they want to get in touch? We'll put it all up on the YouTube screen, etc.
Yeah, so my website is Deep Root Alchemy.
Yep.
And that's deeprootalchemy.com.
Yep.
And Instagram, Mr. Mo Haque.
Cool.
And Haque is spelled Haque.
Mr. Mo Haque. Perfect, bro. No, thank you. It's been a true pleasure speaking to you. I look forward to hearing more about your journey and your runs. And
yeah,
man, keep inspiring, bro.
You might join me on one of
Yeah, never that. But yeah, keep inspiring.
Cool.